Election day. What were your observations? You guys watched for a little bit. Dan watched for a lot. I watched a lot because I'm on the West Coast, so it's not late for me as, everything was winding down around 2 a.m. on the East Coast last night and like reporters are falling asleep. What were your observations last night on election day coverage and all the stuff?
I got a lot of them.
Go ahead, Chris. I can't wait.
They're in no particular order and like on any subject you could imagine. For starters, when I was looking up, where to find the election coverage for the night, I thought it was really hilarious that almost every network had, like when you go on the guide and you hit info, there's like a graphic about the show and then a description. Almost every network used like this graphic that they created where it was like, in Mighty Ducks when it's like Gordon Bombay versus Wolf the Dennis Stanton, and it's like it's like the shadow on the one side of their face, and then the other, like that. It was that, but with Biden and Trump across every network. Oh, I thought it was so funny that they were trying to make it like D2 Mighty Ducks. That was my first observation of the night.
It was wild, and I don't know why I watched so much of it. It's just one of those things where I get lost in it, and my fiance, so much credit to her that we typically agree on shows to watch, but she knew that we were going to watch the election coverage, and she really wasn't getting anything out of it because she knew we were getting answers Tuesday night. But I'm just like sitting there intensely, focused on it for hours and hours at a time. And I don't know why I stayed up way too late, knowing no matter how late I stay up, I'm not going to find out who the president is tonight. So why am I doing this to myself? Because there's nothing else on, first of all. But it was just, I'm like working myself up. She's like, what? She keeps saying, they just keep talking about the same stuff over and over again until more things come in. So I'm like, I know. I give credit to some of these people. John King from CNN is the MVP of election coverage. Because that dude, if he got paid by the minute, the amount that he has to talk and fill time is unreal. He knows everything about every county in this country to great detail. There's my dude. There's my dude. I'm telling you, we were friends last night. I felt like homie was speaking directly to me. It's unreal the level of detail he knows about every one of these states and how much he had to fill time, because that's all that they had to do, which I give CNN credit for, is that they didn't go to the 35-person desk, which they usually do, and they didn't do it via Zoom. They let my man, the MVP of the night, John King, reign supreme. He got a quick nap in, was back in it Tuesday morning. My dude.
So I know he's done this multiple years, but so he's got experience with it. But me and Katie, my wife, were talking last night, like how many dress rehearsals do you think they do on this touch screen? What he does in front of this touch screen it's art.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes it look effortless.
No question.
Unbelievable. But they have to do like days and days and hours of dress rehearsals and just like throwing concepts and situations at him, right? Like, how do you get that good?
I believe that he has one in his house. Like, I believe that's his kids' chores are up on the thing, and I feel like that's just how he communicates every single thing. Because he's been doing this since this technology has, started probably, I don't know, maybe 08, 2012, something like that. Because remember when the touchscreen lagged a lot? Because remember when ESPN used to use the touchscreen a lot, and he used to always screw up, and he used to always be like,
yes.
trying to put the Browns over here, trying to. But yeah,
that's right.
And like it used to be like that with him too, but now it's like that technology is good, and he's just, I mean, it's fascinating watching him until he tells me about Wilkes-Barre for the 50th time in an hour. I was like, all right, you guys have nothing. Key race alert.
Key race alert. Yeah, it gets super repetitive. And also, he had there's an individual we're going to talk about here shortly, but he kept getting interrupted. He's like, oh, what about Arizona? And John would just like smooth transition. He'd finish his thought like he didn't hear him. He's like, oh, no, let's go over to Arizona here. So I give him a lot of credit for, even though there was a particular man there on the same set that was just like, well, what about Michigan? And he's like, well, then we're going to go and finish this county and see. This is how the votes come in. Let's hop on over to Michigan real quick. Smooth, calm, collected. Those dress rehearsals paid off. John King.
You can name the man. It was Wolf. Wolf, not Wolf the Dennis Stanton. I'm talking about Wolf Blitzer, okay? Yeah, I feel like he's so lazy. He's just like, John, show me another thing. John.
Show me, Matt Boy. Come on, Matt Boy. Show me another thing. Show me what happens.
Matt Boy. There was one point where like John King clearly wasn't going to do what Wolf wanted, and Wolf started sticking his papers like in the camera.
He kept going like, over here. Come on, Matt Boy. I want to see this.
John was like, Wolf, stop. Let me show them Florida first.
Did you guys see the part where John King had to apologize last night to Virginia?
No.
Okay, so there was this part we're watching. I don't know what time it was, but we're watching, and John King goes, all right, and goes to Virginia, and he's like, yeah, and it's like Trump's up this much, but we're still waiting on the results in Fairfax County, which is the biggest county in Virginia. So expect a better job from Fairfax County. And we're like, damn, John. John's like shading everybody working the polls in Fairfax in Virginia. And then he comes back on like 5 minutes later, and he's like, I just want to say, I apologize. I know everybody's working hard. I know it's late hours. I know this is different. You're opening up things. And I was like, wow, John had to like apologize. Like the poll workers in Virginia were like, we just will quit. Like,
How late into the broadcast was that? Because I felt like when I was watching, he was very complimentary of all the volunteers and stuff like that.
See, that's the thing. It's hard to judge because like it's so much later here than it was there. So I feel like it was probably around like, I don't know, maybe 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, maybe, you know, because I watched until, I mean, we were off and on watching it. We watched Supermarket Sweep at one point, but we were off and on. We were actually like, I think I turned it off at like 11 o'clock or something, which was 2 o'clock on the East Coast. But yeah, he had to apologize to the state of Virginia.
He was tired. He had a brutal, brutal night. He knew as this thing was going along, we are not going home with any answers tonight, and I'm working late into these hours. I'm not getting paid by the hour.
I don't fault John at all. I think he was probably stressed out because Wolf wouldn't shut the hell up. I think that's what it was. I'll give John a pass. A pass.
Yes, for sure.
I love that it was brought to you by Calm last night. CNN's coverage was brought to you by the Calm app.
And
Genius.
Borat. Did you see that?
Borat?
And Borat. I couldn't believe that. That's amazing.
Whoever the person was at Calm that was like, hear me out, guys. This is the idea I've got. We should put all our money on, we should make sure we put all our money on election coverage for CNN. Whoever decided that is a genius, and I want to work for them. Like, because it was just brilliant. It was so funny sitting there all night long, Calm app, for something that is not calm, still not calm, won't be calm for months.
Yeah, and we're 24 hours later now, and that decision to put that ad there on TV is just getting circulated a million times over on social media because it was so funny and so perfect. Yes. That's marketing genius.
Dude, just super, super, super genius. Any other quick observations from election coverage last night?
Yeah, I still have a few.
Go for it, Chris. Let it go.
CNN analysts have crazy eyewear. Like, do you think these people have discount codes with different movement and different glasses companies? Because if they don't, they should. Every person there had a different type of eyewear on, and some of them were very interesting.
That didn't stick out to me. Who in particular? Does Anderson Cooper? I feel like he should. I think he does.
Andersons are pretty straightforward, though. Van in particular, Van
Jones.
Van Jones. I mean, those are artsy. They really are. But I don't know, something I noticed, guys. So I was very interested in the key issues last night as I was watching. Another one, I love how John King specifically had to explicitly tell us what states were what states because they know how stupid we are, and nobody knows what the Midwestern states are. Mm-hmm. Like, nobody knows the difference between Iowa and Kansas and Arkansas, Missouri. Like, no. So he was like, talking about one state, and he was like, by the way, like the states above it is the Arkansas, Kansas, all this. Like he knew we had no idea what we were looking at. Shouts to John King. And the last one I have is, I thought it was very, very funny. We talked about Wolf a couple times. I thought it was very, very funny that like they spent the entire night at the Magic Wall with Matt Boy, as Dan likes to call him. But then like they would say there was a key race alert, and then all of a sudden Wolf would be like in the middle of the studio again, just so they could do a shot of him walking back to the Magic Wall. Like his whole night was just walking to the Magic Wall and walking back. And I thought that was very funny. Maybe that's why Wolf was so, testy with John King. I don't know. That's the end of my observations.
And it was very unique this year. They had I can't remember the other guy's name. He probably had some other sort of glasses on there too, Chris. The guy that was breaking out the percentages of the votes that were in and what percentage of those were early votes. I feel like he had to slow that down a little bit because America certainly wasn't grasping that either. Here's the percentage of votes that are in. Here's the percentage of those votes that are early votes. And here's what we expect it to be. There's no way that the majority of people watching that followed along. You had to kind of think about it and go, okay, that makes sense to me. But there's no way that these other people are following along. And that was his role. That was it. They'd go in and check with him every once in a while. His numbers really didn't change all that much. They would just go to him for his little task. They did have a small crew. Like I said, they didn't have 45 people on a desk, which they usually do, especially during the primaries. I remember that thing got wild, but shouts to COVID, I guess, for keeping people out of the studio and keeping things a little bit more calm when we get a little bit more John King.
No podcast has shouted out COVID more than us.
It's unbelievable.
It's true.
It's unbelievable.
I don't know what that says about us, but we've really taken the positives out of COVID. One thing that and it goes to the map thing. It's like, and I tweeted this last night. Watching this and seeing the map of the United States constantly, right? And this is not a political observation or whatever. It's just that there's so much of the country I have no desire to see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I have no desire to go to Kansas. What am I going to go to Kansas for? I have no desire to go to Kansas. South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana, Wyoming. What am I going there for? Like, I've been to Iowa because I had to work. So I'll go anywhere if you pay me.
Just Iowa.
But like, I had to go to Iowa for work. I've been there for 2 weekends and it was not great. I'm not happy about my experience that I had there. Like, there are states that I want to go to. There are states that I've been to, most of the ones I've been to, but like, I'm good with my America experience. Like, I've been to all the states I want to go to. And, if I visit them again to go to another place in that state, that's cool. But man, just, that was a big observation for me. It was last night. It's like every 4 years I realized, like, yeah, what's going on in here? Like, I have no idea. Like, I have no desire to do any of this.
That goes back to your argument from a couple of weeks ago, Chris, where the kids that grow up in those states really need to have their chance to get out and see some real city life and experience the rest of this country instead of just sitting there in Oklahoma, Kansas, that big middle chunk of the country there, which, is so huge, but the population is so small. That was the one thing. We didn't have to really check on those states very much. John King was like, yeah, we'll just touch on this real quick. You can see the 5 counties here, and you can see there's only 4,000 votes in the whole county. So we'll go back over here. So you just have to check on those little guys, make sure that everybody was awake there.
What a night. Good God. All right, well, how do we make this better? How do we make this coverage better? Because I don't know about you guys, but I was flipping around everything. Talking about CNN is like fun because they've just got so many things going on with Wolf and John and all of that. But I was flipping around. ABC's coverage just looked terrible. There was a bunch of people in that studio, by the way.
Really?
A lot of people there. How do we make this better, guys? What can we do to make election night a better experience for the American people?
That's a great question. I think, I don't know if we can. I don't know if we can. If we can find out that night, that would be one thing. Not having each state be able to determine how they count their votes and whatnot, but we're not going to get into that too much. It has to be, I want more calm apps, commercials. I want more John King. I want less of, let's go to our correspondents who are, this used to work on Clinton's campaign and used to work on Bush's campaign, and let them argue with each other. Less of that, more just, I need some calm, relaxed sort of reality show elements to that. Give me more. What is it called, Chris? The magic wall. Give me more magic walls. I don't know. I really know. I thought about that last night too. I'm like, this isn't enjoyable. Not that it would be. No matter who wins, it's still not. The process isn't enjoyable. I don't know how to make it better.
Yeah. I don't know. Like you said, Dan, it would be nice if like we just knew that like at this time you'll know who the president is. You'd think we could do that. I don't know. Like I feel like after sitting through months of political ads, like we should get the opposite of that for our commercials during this stuff. And there's like barely any commercials to begin with, but like we should be rewarded for sitting through that and like give us some commercial breaks that like aren't even commercial breaks. Like play us a funny scene from a show like The Office or something like that, just to like give us a break. Like The Wall is cool, and that guy is, like I said, he's an artist, but like after a while I started to get a little bit of vertigo because I was zooming in and zooming out all these different states, and not a lot was happening for a while, and he just kept telling us that not a lot. So okay, when not a lot's happening, like give us some real things to entertain us. And yeah, maybe having just like non-political analysts on the desk, like put Pat McAfee on the desk or something like that, right? Like entertain us, give us some people that aren't going to just argue with each other, talk about demographics, talk about exit polls, talk about counties, and I don't know. It all gets to be a little bit too much at a certain point.
As you're sitting here talking about this, Chris, it just came to me where we need to turn this into like an award show where, and it's right. We have musical guests, musical artists, performances between states being announced to fill some of that time. Then we go back to my man JC, check in with the map a little bit, and let's go over to the current president, Weezy F Baby, for this next performance. Let's do that. Let's turn this into an award show, and then we announce a couple of states, just like you would, and then give us some musical performances in between to keep us relaxed, entertained, fill more of that empty time.
Yeah, because award shows, they keep us along. Like the Oscars are super long. It's like 4-hour show, but they throw in some performances. We get a little Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper doing Shallow. It's nice. It breaks up the evening. We get some Broadway performances and stuff. But what we should do, now that you say that, Dan, is that when John King goes to the map and he has nothing to do, you press on, let's say, Chicago, and then we go to Chance the Rapper, he performs. We press on another state and then it performs. You know what I mean? We get to the famous performers, whatever, from those states. They give us a little something, to make the time go by. That's CNN.
I love that.
Don't you dare try that in 2024 without giving us a call.
Yeah, can we cut that out and tweet it at CNN and just be like, this is Dee Dee's interview to be Map Boy number 2?
Yes, I'm the performance map. Oh, key performance alert. Let's go to Pittsburgh where we've got Wiz Khalifa. Let's go.
Key performance alert. Let's check on the votes in Miami-Dade County. But if we kick it right here, we're going to go to Mr. Worldwide, Mr. 305. Let's take it to Miami live right now.
Dali.
This is big.
Yes.
It's like, and we just saw that AOC won her race in the Bronx. So guess what? We've got J-Lo. Let's get to it. Jenny from the block. Oh my gosh.
DJ John King up at the wall. I love it.
Or even like facts about like when they go into these random counties, like you could tell me that like, okay, Trump has like 300 votes and Biden has 400 votes and they're only reporting like 2% of the results so far. Is there something else? Is there a famous person from that county? Is there something interesting that happened in that county? Give me some fun facts, John, outside of your numbers. I think that would really add to it.
Yeah, have it pop up like the Daily Double in like Jeopardy, where he doesn't know the percent on that county. He just clicks it and it's like, and it's like, there's not enough here. Use this instead. That's what it needs to be like.
Dude, there are ways that we can do this. Also, I think there needs to be more counter programming. I think that, and I understand we have like Netflix and all these other things, right? But you still want to be like, I don't know. I still want to be a click away from it. I kind of want to be, but I feel like last night, they pushed The Bachelorette to Thursday. I feel like we could have had The Bachelorette last night. Well, actually, I know we could have because we don't have a president. So we're talking a day later. So you could have thrown to The Bachelorette at 8:00, came back at 9:00. We still have nothing. Let's go back to Claire, see what's going on in this crazy season of The Bachelorette. Like, more counter programming. There should be a football game on during election coverage,
Ooh.
and they can have it running in the screen. We can go back to John King there's no halftime show. We just go to John King.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like in commercial breaks, we go to John King, we go to Wolf, we get the key race alert while we're watching a Mac game or something. Like there's ways that you could do counter programming for this and still keep people informed, because you get to a point where the polls close here and it's just like, all right, California, it's like, all right, the polls have closed in California, all right, it's going to Biden, whoever the Democrat is. Like, we already know that it's already going there. So it's like, I don't need somebody to tell me that. I can be watching something else and then it just comes on the screen. It's like California, Oregon, they're all going, all right, cool, that's what I need.
Is it possible that me calling Major League Baseball tone deaf is wrong and they were trying to give us the counter programming?
No, they're still tone deaf.
Okay.
No. They were still tone deaf.
Oh man.
No.
Can you imagine if for some reason the World Series got delayed or something like that because of, it almost potentially did with the Dodgers if they would have had to go to Game 7. Can you imagine if there's any sort of delay in the postseason and they had a game tonight? Like, they took off Tuesday because of the election night, and then they actually had a game tonight, and they were like, well, shit. Now we're screwed.
Joe Buck would be the person that announces who's the president for everybody while they're watching the Dodgers.